Welcome to the Town Board Workshop, Thursday, February 4th, 2016. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town attorney, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilman Delango?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. Supervisor Perotti?
Here.
And Councilwoman noted as absent.
Public comment?
Okay. Yeah. That's you.
You're on.
Hi. Give my name, right?
Yes, your
Okay.
name and your address.
Rosemary Leisky at 125 Coach House Lane, Dover Plains, in Tally Ho Estates. I'm just here for us in Tally Ho about the solid waste facility that's going to be sort of located across just 300 feet from our water. And I thought more people would be here. I'm shocked they're not. We wanted to know, we want our views on this, that we are against it because it is so close to our homes. You've got all this property along 22 there's nobody there, or maybe a gas station there or something, nothing else. Why does it have to be so close to us? When you have 153 homes that's going to be affected, because it's right over our Aquafresh, whatever that's called. And that's all I wanted to say, that we oppose it.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, did you say 350 homes in Tally Ho?
There's 153 homes in Tally Ho
Okay, thanks.
that would be affected by this.
Okay.
And want me to leave you the flyer? This flyer was given to us, that's why I'm surprised more people, but it's all seniors, so they can't get out, it's dark out.
right.
So I guess I'll come and speak to them. Let me leave the flyer with you, this is what was handed to us.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there someone else? Is there anyone else signed up for public comment?
We have a sign.
Would anyone else like to speak
The only one who shared. She said she wanted to speak at the end.
at the end? Okay. Okay, supervisors report. I would like to address the inaccurate reporting of the Millerton News in last week's newspaper regarding my exchange with Kelly Parsons during public comment at the January 21st meeting, when she was asking questions about the Wassaic Fire District 171% increase. My remarks were taken out of context, as the only taxes I said would not go up $500,000 or 171% were ones related to ambulance service. I then went on to explain that creating an ambulance district would mean adding a taxing special district. So there would be additional tax to cover ambulance service shared by all taxpayers in the town of Amenia. I was not talking about all taxes, but a very specific and complex issue related to ambulance service in the Wassaic Fire District. The town of Amenia has stayed under the tax cap for the last 2 years and submitted the required efficiency plan so taxpayers will get a rebate. We are committed to continue working hard to hold the line on taxes. Water laws update. The water clerk, Tara Mori, the water committee, and Marco D'Antonio are working on developing a water application and a water permit to be included in the proposed laws, which will be sent to the town board for approval when it's completed. Old Amenia landfill update. The site management plan completed by DEC is completed. DEC has not deemed the project closed. RFPs are being developed by Kimberly Ray for companies to do post-closure testing to be paid for by the town of Sharon. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. WSB Cells and DOT are working on the last items for the final design report. DOT is reviewing the right-of-way easement information and has set comments to WSB Cells to answer. On January 26, Vicki Doyle and I met with Wassaic DDSO ARC site employees Don Casey and Jill Rusk, who offered volunteer services under Wassaic Industries to pick up trash along town roads and do other tasks as needed for the town of Amenia. They're also looking for employment opportunities and currently are paid by Fresh Down to clean their parking lot. There's a flyer on the bulletin board as you come into Town Hall that lists what types of work they are looking for, as well as contact information. Call 373-8145, extension 104 to schedule an appointment. Ambulance service update. On January 28th, I met with the Town of Northeast Supervisor George Kay, Town of Northeast Councilman John Merwin, Dutchess County Commissioner of Emergency Response Dana Smith, and Dutchess County Commissioner of Planning Owen Rafter regarding the 2016 Dutchess County Shared Services Grant eligibility for a feasibility study to provide ambulance service regionally through a joint venture between the towns of Northeast, Amenia, and Dover. The towns of Northeast and Dover will be discussing this with their respective town boards to see if that is something they want to pursue. The Wassaic and Amenia Ambulance Service Committees will be meeting with the town board and Northern Dutchess paramedics to explore contract options for the proposed ambulance district. We are currently getting proposals to create the map, plan, and report required for establishing an ambulance district. County Executive Mark Molinaro announced the formation of a task force headed by Dutchess County Commissioner Dana Smith to look at ambulance service issues countywide at his State of the County address that I attended on January 27th. On February 2nd, I attended the monthly Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association with Stephen Rector, Dutchess County Commissioner of Human Resources, as speaker. Dutchess County is removing pre-screening questions related to an individual's and criminal history and other matters such as dismissed from work for other reason than level of work, than lack of work or funds, dishonorable discharge, surrender to professional license, or had it revoked. This does not eliminate the process of gathering information about an applicant's criminal history or employment dismissals, as this information can be obtained at a later stage in the hiring process. On February 3rd, I met with Michael Jowen, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Sergeant and Station Commander at the Dover Plains Barracks, and Catherine Rody, Lieutenant, who set up a meeting with me to introduce themselves and go over the types of calls they respond to in the town of Amenia. One point they made was that the number of burglaries was increasing. Another was that most burglaries happen during the day. The way that citizens can help to protect themselves and their neighbors is, if you see something, say something. The state police would like you to report any suspicious activity, a person or vehicle that seems out of place, to Troop K headquarters at 845-677-7300. Their telephone number is also on the Town of Amenia website. Town clerk report.
Good evening. I'd just like to update the board that Councilwoman Hitzelberger is going to be absent throughout the meeting. She's out sick. The monthly share has been remitted to the supervisor. The January 21st minutes have been circulated to the board. Currently, I am working on creating that building use, the updated form for anytime you want to add building events and community events. I have a sketch, sending it to Gretchen. I didn't know she wouldn't be here tonight, so I'll send that to Gretchen. And we're trying to look a better way to format on how items are added to the website, as well as the calendar and where they're located. We do have a request in your packets. The senator is currently working with, so if you guys go to your packets, it will be towards the end of
Serino?
Yes, Senator Serino is working with Sharon Hospital, and I'll tell you that. They're looking to use this building. So I've been reached out, and it was inquired For April 23rd, Saturday, April 23rd, they're looking to use the town hall at Senator Sereno, Cape, and Sharon Hospital, and they're going to be co-sponsoring this event. It's going to be a panel to discuss, followed by question and answers. The goal is to present a problem, best practices, and resources regarding the growing opiate and painkiller and heroin epidemic that we are facing here in our towns. They're targeting 3 groups: parents and students, community members, business and seniors, and that they'll be holding 3 forums. The first one is April 7th at Dover High School. The second is April 14th at Stising Mountain High School, and they're looking for the third one to be held here at the Amenia Town Hall. When I received this request, I know in the past we've done activities, and we have, Senator coming in and our county executive, and I'd like to present that the building fees be waived for this event and their insurance. And I don't know what the,
You want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we waive the fees associated with the use of the building for Senator Sue Sereno's
And the county executive?
program and the insurance requirement.
And also the county executive, he's coming.
And also for the county executive's use of the building as well. And can I also add to that that the Millbrook Pony Club, well, I'll make that as a separate motion because they're not waiving fees.
because they're paying in the building uses form, you're all set with them.
I don't need
You
a
don't
board
need to do
approval?
that, but I'm
Okay.
looking to waive fees and insurance
For
requirements.
them, for those 2, yeah,
Yes, that's why.
okay.
I'll second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes,
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Great, I will let the representative know, and as more information comes, I will circulate and post accordingly. And that concludes my report, unless you guys are looking to make an action on the minutes. You guys have had the opportunity to review those.
I have one small typo on page 2 of January 21, 2016 minutes. And B. Doyle shared her, instead of relocation, recollection of the events.
Gotcha.
Shared her what recollection?
Yeah.
Recollection rather than
It
relocation.
says relocated.
You didn't move
Maybe
them?
in her mind, she's relocated.
And with that correction, I'd make a motion that we accept the January 21, 2016 minutes.
Second?
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes,
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Motion passes. And just as a friendly reminder, February 18th, our next town board meeting, we're going to be hosting our blood drive here at the town hall from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Did you get it, Mike? Thank you.
Did you want to talk about the parking module,
You want to go right into that?
since you gave me the proposal?
I did. I saw it on the
You
agenda. I
can
didn't know
tell
if you
us
wanted me
about
to
it.
do it now or later. Supervisor Prodi has circulated to the town board a proposal that I have from SEI. SEI is our software that we use in the Amenia Justice Court. And there's different modules similar to our building department, and proposing to the board and providing information on the parking module. This particular module will give the Justice Court the opportunity to keep track of our parking tickets. There's currently been just under 20 tickets already issued here for parking after hours and on the sidewalk. And one of the options that you have is, after 3 unpaid parking tickets, is this suspend a registration. Keeping track of fines, making sure it's an easier way to keep track of our parking tickets. We can run different reports. Currently, you would just key it in and you don't have those same type. It's just a whole different module. It's Divide for just parking. I used it when I was in the Millbrook Justice Court. You know, it's an easier tool to make our day go by that much quicker. You have the opportunity to run the registrations. It would really be an asset for the Justice Court to go ahead and keep better track of that, so that way we can run the reports to show you how much your revenue is coming off of parking and keeping track. You know, it was one of those new laws that you guys went ahead and added in last year. It was not an item that the Justice Court budgeted. We weren't expecting to have the activity level, what it is. And it's really, it's going to be best for the town if that's, you know, the avenue that the town's going to look to assist in the increase of revenue. This would be the way to go. The advantages of using this program, it's compatible with the current program that we're using. So it's not like we're looking to add a different program that we have to train on. And SCI has been with us for the last 12 years.
Does anybody have any questions?
How much is it?
For the
$2,600.
$2,600 would be for the install. The annual maintenance, of course, then at that point, we would budget accordingly like we have to do with the rest of our softwares. We can add that into our budget every year.
So the maintenance is $452 every year?
Yes, from this, you know, after that forward.
But this year it would be just the 2,600.
Not sure. So what kind of activity, how many tickets have been issued to date? Is that possible?
14, I knew it was under 20. There's 14 to date. Some pleas are coming in, not everybody's responding to them. And it's the non-respondents where this is where it's going to help. The ones that are doing the honest thing, you know, they get their ticket on their window and they're sending them in and they're pleading and they're just paying, or they're pleading not guilty and going to follow the process. Those aren't the ones that we're having an issue with. It'll be the ones that are not responding. So by
To track it?
To track it. So on their third time that we're having issues, we're going to be able to track it by contacting the Department of Motor Vehicles, suspending their registration.
Is that the only way you can do that is through SEI?
Well, that's our program. I mean, there's other program. Remember, there was Williamson Law. There was other programs out there that exist, but the SEI program has been, you know, 98% of the courts in our state use SEI. So that's why, you know, even when
Other than that, you'll have to track it manually.
yeah, this is the way, and then we can properly report it to the Department of Motor Vehicles.
We have to use one of those systems?
You're going to have to do something, yes.
Okay.
And then it generates the 3 letters. It shows that you've done your correspondence. It, you know, there's no way to question and say, hey, they didn't do something, you know, on our level.
Okay.
How much is a parking ticket?
Anywhere between $25 and $50. That's your town law. If the other codes that are being issued for being written, you know, 1110As, fines, you know, I don't want to misquote, but there's some tickets out there that can be $150. And then the $25 surcharge. So it depends on what the officers are writing. And so there's parking, you can write under town, or you can write under the state code, which is,
I mean, right
for
now, for
revenue is the way to go. Is
the
to write it.
14 parking tickets, you have a complete revenue of $350.
And there's still parking, and Chris isn't going out every single night.
I mean, we have a module that costs $24.50 right now with a $452 maintenance. You're really not even covering the cost yet.
The parking program is something that would be new, just as the issuance of the tickets.
And they've started
starting.
recently, right,
Yeah.
in January, or?
Yep,
So
we
if you
started
don't
going-
have this parking program, if the people don't pay the tickets, you can't report it to DMV?
How do you, no, we're not reporting them.
Why?
Because we're going to have to key them in as the parking tickets. We're looking to follow this module because this is what it does. This is.
But I
it's
mean,
the
manually, you can't report them to DMV?
No, we're following town. No, we're doing something, we're looking to go ahead and suspend registrations.
Okay.
The problem that, you know, we're trying to help, this is us helping the town. I mean, we didn't even need to present this to
Yeah.
the town. But rather than members of the town saying that, hey, there's nothing you can do on a parking ticket means nothing, that's not true. Once it leaves your hands and it comes into the court system, there are ways to go ahead and track your tickets and suspend registrations. This is us trying to help you. And
This is the only
talk about
avenue
it.
for
Yeah, we did
actually
not talk
being
about it during when the
enforced.
town board was doing the law.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that can't be tracked manually?
How are we going to suspend them?
I'm
I
asking
mean,
you.
No, we're going to.
So the only way you could suspend the registration for a parking ticket is with this computer program?
Going into, yes. That's what we're looking to
I
do.
think that's 3 tickets, right?
Three unpaid parking tickets.
3 unpaid tickets.
You know, it's just adding a different feature to the program.
No, I understand, I'm just trying to see if it's cost-effective or not. I mean, we have $350 in
The
parking tickets.
first year, I don't think any program's ever cost effective. I mean, it's until we get into it and we start pushing, you know, and doing this. I mean, this is new for the court, these parking tickets. I mean, if everybody went ahead and just pled guilty and came in and, you know, paid their fine that day, I don't think we would be bringing this up to you, but since we have outstanding tickets.
No, I'm just wondering how they did it 20 years ago before you had these programs.
You weren't being suspended 20 years ago.
You weren't being suspended.
Not here. And I mean, I'm telling you what I did in Millbrook. This is how we did it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
just
wondering if
mimicking
there's a
what the other towns-
manual way to suspend the registrations. You can't call up DMV and say, this is from the town of Amenia, and we have 3 unpaid parking tickets, we want to suspend the registration?
I'm not aware of a method.
Don't
No,
ask.
I know. I'm not aware of a way to do that. I mean, it's certainly a question, but this is the software program. You can pick any of them, and, you know, I purposely did not go with other ones because also it talks about in there, you know, using Preed, it's the easiest way for checking plates. So now what we'll do is, as soon as they come in, because the way the tickets are written, you know, plate ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, we come in, we run it, we get their reg right then and there. So we need a program to be able to access who these plates are. So right now we have them in a folder. You have all the tickets are identified by not only ticket number, but you have what their plates are. But there's no way to key in, hey, that's Mike DeLango's vehicle because we have to run their plate. So we need that capabilities of running their plate to pull up who the car is registered to.
So the court can't run a plate?
Once we get the program, we will.
But without a program, you can't run a plate?
No, we run DMV after your abstract, off your driver's license. That's how we pull abstracts. We're looking to go after the person's registration. That's the way you attack somebody for parking tickets.
No, I
So,
understand that. But I'm just, if
we
you
don't
could
run
run a
plates.
plate number and there's no DMV abstract to run a plate number.
You need to have the driving, no, we run individuals' driving license information. We don't run their registration of their vehicle. That's currently right now, if you get a ticket, I can run your DMV abstract off of your identification, off of your 9-digit code. That's the way that we currently search people to know if they're suspended. We've never gone after somebody's registration. This is a whole new ballgame for our court.
Do you have to pay the license fee the first year as well, or is it just the acquisition fee? Or is that included
The
in
26,
Right, so there's the 2,400, I guess it's an acquisition fee or the install fee or something, but then it says it's, the 450 is an annual license fee.
so the annual license fee, we currently pay the other licensing fees every year, so we'll just be adding it in. It'll be just another license fee similar to other programs that, you know.
But he wants to know if you'd have to pay it now.
The first year, right?
The first
Or
year.
is that ongoing? I'm just,
That
if it's,
question, I honestly don't know.
okay.
I don't know if they waive it since it's an addition. I can certainly speak to the owners to see if they can
Because it says new parking
make a-
customer includes,
deal with us.
includes installation and training is $2,600. Is that what we're looking at?
Yes.
But
You know,
not,
and
but
if,
not the other charge?
no, not the 24 in addition.
Or, no, not the 452? That would be
You know, when he
annual
asked that,
going
yeah,
forward,
I think
right?
that's annual going forward. I'd honestly have to look when we did our last update, what they did. If they waived that fee, I mean, that would be my
Well,
bargaining tool.
I think they would have included in the new parking customer includes installation and training.
Yeah,
I don't think so, because that's a one-shot deal.
right?
Then
It's
you
a
have your
one-time.
maintenance fee, you know, it's probably for a year, so if you install it in January, it's due again in January. I think when they come and install it, it's just new parking customer includes installation and training. I think if it included a maintenance fee, it would say it includes maintenance fee.
Yeah, I mean, that's why on the last, you know, I circled the
Yeah.
both, just using the parking program. And then I went ahead and I print the brochure out, so that way you guys can see this is what they're telling us that it's gonna do. You know, how they're gonna do your scofflaws, how they're gonna tag them.
You said there's another company that makes software to do this, but it's not.
There's Williamson Law, which is a program that I had looked to bring into the town clerk's office. They covered everything from tax collecting to the court system. The reason why I did not switch to go over to Williamson Law is because the relationship that the majority of the courts in our state use. And since I sit on the executive board, these are the guys that come and do our trainings for the clerks and tell them how you do things, key things in, how we run, the whole process of what a court clerk does. So that's why I've stuck with them. You have a question, you pick up the phone anytime, day or night, even, evening hours, they'll go over. Lynette's great, she's a former court clerk, so I think that's why my comfort zone falls with SEI. And there was a time that New York State, when they were doing our JCAP grants, they're supporting the purchase of the SEI program. So in the courts that are still, that they were manual, if you were applying for a JCAP grant and you were applying for SEI, you were getting that grant.
Is there a chance we can get a grant to cover the initial installation, which is pretty hefty?
Well, the grants don't come out till the fall. It's not something that we can't consider.
Do they cover that kind of thing?
I don't know, I've been so great with grants.
No, you've done great. You've done great.
I'm afraid to apply for something that I'm
And you're not going to get?
track record.
Right.
And you look at what it has, there's 3 pages to this. It, initially breaks down what it does. The biggest part is for the tracking and bringing up being able to search registration. So you come in, if one of the officers that are out on the road, they have a question, hey, what is plate, blah, 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 we can look it up for them right away. And then they'll know, hey, is this John Doe? Is this his third vehicle? What's going on?
I think we should get a second quote from Williamson Law to get a sense of what our
What they have
options
going
are.
on.
It's a significant but non-budgeted item, and it'd be good to know what the,
Now, is there another company besides Williamson, so we have 3 quotes?
I will know for our next meeting, because after New York City.
We'll be at the...
We'll be there.
We can check the vendors.
We can check out, see who the new vendors are. If you want to take this, you both are going down, take this, see what, the vendors have to offer. When you go to Williamson Law, I don't know if you have to have the Williamson Law program, which I want you to ask that. So if you see other parking programs, what are your, capabilities?
in other
and
words,
how do
this
they
is
link
just an
with
add-on
SEI?
module to what you already have, so.
Yeah, so that would be the question that I would ask. I want you guys to hear it yourselves. I'll go around, I'll grab them.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll both be
Sounds
down
good.
there.
Thank you.
Well, Dawn, how are these parking tickets being issued? Chris, you're going around and writing the tickets?
Chris knows.
What's that?
How are you issuing the
Can you
parking
come
tickets?
up to the...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How are you issuing the
I'm
parking?
going around at night and seeing who's parking on the streets.
So you have a set time?
Rotating
whatever,
times.
You rotate the time
Right.
and everything?
Yes.
Using your own vehicle and everything?
Using my own vehicle.
Like,
I
you've
do
given out
I
about...
do a round, right around from Amenia right down through Wassaic and checking the whole areas that were problem areas. There's the same area that Mike Seggleton had issues with people parking on sidewalks. It just so happened having to be able to catch that one at the right time. I think the people that were parking on the sidewalks actually moved out because there is an empty apartment up there that's across from where the issue was. So I just do a tour right around town.
How many cars are chronically ignoring their parking tickets and parking incorrectly?
Right now, I just have one.
Okay.
That's been a couple times. Other than that, from when I get out, most of the time, it's usually different vehicles.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that a day that I'm not out, they're not parking there, but
Is it helping? I mean, do you see
absolutely.
an improvement?
Absolutely. The vehicles, most of the vehicles that I've had put a summons on, they weren't there after that.
Okay.
And then, like I said, every once in a while, you'll see one back there and come back later on and they'll be gone. It does work. It honestly does work.
So, just to, in my opinion, I don't know what the rest of the town board feels, the goal of this wasn't, in my opinion, to create a new revenue stream, but in fact to improve the parking spaces and the walkability of the community so that chronic, people who continue to park in the wrong spaces and inhibit our use of the amenities, they have something on their windshield that says this is not allowed, this is not okay, and to move your vehicle. So that was my main thing, rather than trying to
I don't believe
turn
it
this
was,
into...
yeah, I don't believe it was ever a revenue thing. I want to say it honestly began with snow, but as you all could see, that didn't come this year.
Right, but still,
And that was always the
walkability is
issue
still
down
an
Main
Don't
Street.
say that too
is
loud.
Between the county and the state and our local highways, they couldn't clear everything off. And that's where I want to say this originally came from.
Okay.
Because Stan was trying to go through the other authorities, trying to get them to
Yep.
have cars ticketed, and it just wasn't working correctly. So I want to say that's where it came from. But then again, this year we don't have any snow, so now it's kind of
No, but
defeats
it's
the
still,
purpose, but it's still setting a precedence for the future
right.
that maybe we do get snow and now the streets are clear, so our local highway departments can do their job correctly, and you guys won't have the same issues down Main Street with the big banks of snow and the different issues that you did have, and the cars parked out closer to the middle of the road, which is kind of narrow anyway.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
So we'll table it for now.
Yep.
Make a motion to table the court parking program.
A second.
Councilman Blanco.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
your report. Building report. Please find January's monthly report for the building department as building permits go. We have issued 7 new building permits totaling $932 and 1 administrative fee of $75. We're continuing with certificate of occupancy searches, and for this month we did 6 searches, which totals $700. And as far as fire inspections go, we did 4 fire inspections, which total $700. The total for the month is $2,407. In addition, I asked the building inspector to give us a zoning report so we could have an idea of what he's currently working on. And he's gave us a list of, he's currently working on alleged zoning violations with the attorney.
There are, I've had a few comments from residents who have mentioned houses that are in foreclosure that are needing to be, that look awful. So those
They need to be...
requests need to go in writing to the building enforcement
Yes,
officer.
they need to do the complaint form online, or we have complaint forms here, send it to the building inspector, and he will address it. Because he usually notifies the bank or whoever holds the mortgage. But they have to file the complaint so that we know where it is and we can address it. Did you get a grant report? Or?
We got it emailed to us.
I went to a basketball game.
Oh, okay, so he didn't drop it off to you.
Not,
It was in the afternoon that I got mine.
Okay, well, he's actually going to be at the next meeting, so we'll get a more complete report then. Recreation?
Hello, my name is Christine Ford. I'm here again to talk about baseball. That's pretty much what I do here in the town of Amenia. I want to let everybody know that I had new forms made up for each of the clinics that we do. I do a pitching clinic, which will be starting soon. And on each of the forms, I do have a section that the parents can sign if they want pictures taking, and if it's okay to put on our website. I just want to make sure that was more clear than it has been in the past. So I had Tara Morey do that for me, and they came out wonderful. Pitching clinics and catching clinics will be starting here at the Town Hall on Mondays at 7:30, starting February 22nd. Clinic 1 would be Mondays, which are students in grade 7 to adult, and they'll go until April 4th. Clinic 2 is on Fridays at 4:30, and they're students in 4 to 6 grades, and they start February 26th and end April 8th. John Lamb is the instructor, and we usually get really busy at those times. We invite everybody from all over our area, different towns and everything, and we do pretty well down here. I will be doing sign-ups for baseball, softball, and Little League here at the Amenia Town Hall. When you first come through the front doors, I'll be sitting there on March 12th and on March 19th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Residents that live in Amenia will be $25, and non-residents are $40.
Ages 3 to 12?
3 to 12. And then just a little bit more of baseball information. On April 16th, we're going to have cleanup day at the ball field like I do every year. It's the day just before opening day, just to clean up the field, make it look nice. It always is nice to clean up garbage that's around and just all the kids get involved. That's usually when I give out their outfits too, their t-shirts and hats and stuff. It just make a day of it. On April 23rd, we're going to do opening day for Farm League. That's when we have everybody plays at our home field. And we have John Lamb who does the first pitch on the Major League field. I have a young lady, I think she'll still do it again this year, Cassandra Whitehead, always sings the national anthem. We do hot dogs for all the families that day too. It's just a nice day, nice fun day, everybody gets out. And then after that, it gets more into different time zones that we have there. On April 30th, we're going to do team photos, and of course, on June 18th, we're going to end with a celebration like we always do. And then as you see, Babe Ruth and Connie Mack, that's our summer stuff. I'll do sign-ups then on May 28th, June 4th, and June 11th from 11 to 1. And if anybody has any questions, they can call me at 845-705-7127. Just so you know that all our coaches, we do a background check, and they all have to be CPR certified. We have a great gentleman who does the CPR certifying for me. His name is Chris Klinger. And we're working right now, Rick Lonju is working on window protectors for the windows in the gym when we do our pitching clinics, so we don't break any windows. Just so you know also, I've talked with Tom Downey. The Monarchs are going to be using our fields again this year, and they'll be practicing on Sundays. John Zenz, obviously you guys got the note too that school baseball will be here. I'm pretty sure it's just varsity and JV, but modified also was on the fields too. I keep track on who's on the field, so they don't really interfere with anything that we do during the day too, because they're here more they end usually around 6, and if my teams have to do practices, they usually practice after about 6. They'll wait till after they're done with their games, so it works out nice. And just the concession stand that you put out, do we need to put out a...
Yes. You need to advertise.
Please.
Make a motion to advertise for the concession stand
RFPs.
for Bateman Park. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
So I need, so we'll do we'll just do April 1st to give them. Are you going through soccer? Is soccer not going to?
It's up to soccer. If they want to, we can have that person go right through. If soccer has the person, they can use it.
So that way we can include that in the RFP this year. Last year it was not.
Mm-hmm.
I will call the soccer contact.
Yeah.
So they'll be due next month. They won't be done for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
I'm a non-questioning person. Any announcements that you have for recreation, all these signups? We're kind of trying to do a transition here at the town hall in getting everything on the website and on the calendar, that I just ask that you go ahead and email it to me directly. PDF formats for your flyers so we can get them on the website. And if you want to include the new forms that you guys have worked on, we can update the website as well to include any new forms.
Okay, Tara has all them. She has
Okay,
all
so
that stuff. but
the
I
good
don't know.
news is that all of the, whether you're on a commission committee or department, the department heads, chairs, or you're running, like this, so you'd be the chair of this, you send it to me making your request. That way I don't have 15 people telling me what should go where. Just send me the request saying that, Dawn Marie, I would like this added for recreation, and give me all of your items. That way it's clear and concise, and I've done what you wanted. That way nothing gets missed.
Okay,
We're trying to really narrow in on that. So just, and then you have to request it. If you don't tell me what you want, I can't assume that you want it on the website or on the calendar or on Channel 22. So please tell me exactly what you would like.
okay, so I tell you, I did tell Tara what I wanted, but
So
I
go ahead
did,
and send me an email,
okay,
and then just tell me exactly what we're trying to get all of the departments to do the same requests. And currently what I'm doing is working on a form that's going to be a fillable form, but
Okay.
it's just not out there yet.
Did Tara send you what you asked her to do so that you have a copy?
no, actually, I came and visited her.
Okay. We'll have her send
I
it
mean,
to
you can
you
have
so
her,
you
you know,
have
when
it.
And I
Here.
asked her, I told her all the things that needed to be done, because I do know it's on our Channel 22, I saw it just before I
Okay.
came.
But
and
we're
I
just
told her,
trying to
like,
mainstream some items here at the town hall.
Yep,
Yeah, we're
within
trying to
our own building.
update the website so it has more
like the school, the
information.
newspaper, and stuff like that. Okay,
Whatever you want, we'll do it. Just, I need to have the request given. Don't just assume that it's going to get done.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Okay, committee reports. Did you have anything, Jessica?
The CAC, like I mentioned at the last meeting, did go through the Bulfamontes EAF and is working on submitting a written comments to those, and it sounds like our other consultants are also working on that as well. My husband, Mark Doyle, did review the map that was generated at the Dutchess County Planning and Development, and he compared it with the soil mining overlay portion of that map, new zoning map, with the 2009 version, the pre-approved 2007 version, and then made sure that the new 80-acre parcel that was included later in that district was added correctly, and it appears that it is follows the contours and the description that had been included. So I think the next step is probably to send that map on to the zoning enforcement officer to have them look at it, because before they issue a final printed version, I think it's best.
Victoria, did you send that to Mike?
Yes.
I thought,
Did you have a
yeah,
chance to
so
look
maybe
at
he
it?
could look at it. So there's no issue with that description on Ridgecrest's closing?
I don't believe, it's now closed.
Okay.
So the missing meets and bounds was provided by Ian Holbeck's, I think it was by the geologist, Budnick.
Was that different from the description that was included back in
You know,
2011?
in the resolution? So the resolution probably needs to be cleaned up, because they worked from the resolution and were unable to close the boundaries. So there was a description that didn't match,
Okay,
which was why we're missing
okay.
the map.
Because I meant, yeah, we'd probably have to do a new
Follow up.
resolution with a correction on that.
So I'll go back to
Is that
Bob.
before or
So
after
the-
the application?
I'm sorry?
Is that before or after the application? Doesn't he have to do an application?
No, we
No,
should
that's
get that
unrelated.
corrected first, get the
Yeah.
soil mining
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overlay district corrected.
Okay.
So I have the 2011 resolution, Dawn sent it, and then there was a description that came from the engineer,
Right.
so I can compare those two, and
Okay.
if they're different,
Yeah,
then we'll have to do a correction.
to the
on that.
resolution, right,
Yeah.
so that we have exactly the right boundaries.
The other thing is, we have to make sure that doesn't affect the 2013 special permit that was granted for the 65 acres, to mine the 65 acres on Ridgecrest out of So I may have to look at the 2013 resolution too, on the special permit that the board granted and see.
Yep. Well, Bob seemed to understand what was erroneous there, so Bob
He-
Wills
with-
at the county
With the
planning,
county, okay,
because he was working on that.
okay.
So will we have that resolution for our next meeting, or?
Well, I'll have to look at the descriptions. Yeah, we may be able to do it at the next meeting.
You have to let me know before I do the agenda.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that because it's a correction. So it's a matter of the process of amending it, whether we have to refer it back over to county and to the planning board.
I would think Bob would give us the procedure for doing that.
Yeah.
He says we're not half as bad as most towns, so.
Yeah, but it's
On the
just,
good
it's a
side.
process. If it's an amendment to the zoning, if it is, we may have to send it back over. I mean, they've already looked at it, so we probably would get a quick response. And we'd have to send it over to the planning board as well. I mean, they get 30 days, and again, they may just send something back that they're okay with it. I don't have a map with the meets and bounds. Maybe
I thought
do
it
you
was
think, John-
attached to the letter from Janet Tessero. Or, no, there was a Stephanie. There was an, I'll look back through my emails. I think she included the corrected meets and bounds as well as the map. Stephanie, was it Stephanie?
Yeah, I didn't see the map. I saw the meets and bounds, and then I saw the other maps. I think Mark had attached some.
Right,
with the
those are
different districts.
historical, that he was just comparing from our historical information.
Okay.
So you'll get the correct map to Denise?
I think what we need are the
John
meets and
Andrews has
bounds.
it, right? The other thing I could do,
I didn't forward it to John Andrews,
he doesn't have the map.
not that I know of. I only forwarded it to you and to Victoria from Mark's. I got it from Bob and Stephanie, and I think, well,
Because, yeah, I know I printed off a bunch of attachments, but I don't,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe
I'll go
it's
back
there.
through my stuff and see what we need to do to
Okay.
clean it up.
Okay. So I'll have to look at those two things, the 2011 SMO district and then the 2013 special use permit. They're going to want to amend that to eliminate the 25-foot boundary on the Ridgecrest parcel, so they're going to need an amendment on that. But you need to correct it. you know,
Yeah,
so,
it needs to start with a clean,
yeah.
correct version.
Is there anything else from CAC?
No, I don't think so.
That's it? Kitchen Committee met on January 19, 2015. Yeah, approval of minutes. The next meeting will be held on February 9th at 7 o'clock in the assessor's office. The committee has reached out to the town board for comments and have received comments from Victoria Perotti, town supervisor. We will be reviewing them for completion. Victoria reported she is looking into NYSERDA grant possibilities. Wayne is working with Mike Haggerty and other grants. And that's pretty much what the meeting was. Are there any other committee reports? Historian is not here. Mobile home park policy, we were sent a copy of the proposed mobile home park policy for discussion.
I mean, this is a first draft. I did speak with Mike Seggleton the other day, because what he said is that there are some of the mobile home parks that are not within the mining or the mobile home overlay district. So if they're outside of the district and therefore became non-conforming when the 2007 zoning was adopted, they go under the non-conforming use provision. The others that are in the district, then this would apply to, this revision.
So is there someone here that, place here that it says it only applies to people
No, because you already have it in here.
So we already have it in the zoning, so we don't need to,
Under
it in the proposal.
121-44, mobile home and construction trailer regulations. And then A is mobile home parks. Paragraph 2, existing mobile home parks not located in an MHO district may be continued as provided in Article 6, which is the non-conforming use. And under that section, subparagraph A, continuation, any structure or use which was legal when built or commenced and which was in existence at the time of enactment or amendment of this chapter, which becomes non-conforming as a result of such enactment or amendment may be continued, except that they have to comply with the sign provision. Outdoor storage areas required to comply with 121-51. And they have to comply with the requirements of the AQO district that pertain to the management of solid waste and hazardous substances.
How many mobile home parks are in Amenia?
I think there's at least 3.
7. The last time that we looked at this, we were collecting 7 from 7 different entities that were paying.
So there's 7 different
Well, there
mobile
was
home
at
parks.
the time that, what we're aware of.
All right, now what were they doing before this introduction of this law?
Mike looked up the old zoning law the other day and pulled it out, and there was a provision in there for the permitting and the fees.
So what happened back in 2014, we came across two separate entities that were not paying. So the first 2 years that I was here, they were paying. We look back over the last, the time that I had been here, so the 3 years that I was here, it happened to be these 2 same individuals were not paying. So we sent them a second notice, certified return receipt, and then we reached out to the board at the time and Denise asking, what do I do? They didn't pay. And that's when this all kind of came to fruition. It's not in the current code for me to be collecting the $12 from them.
$12.
Per mobile.
Per mobile home.
Per mobile
So,
home.
How many of the mobile homes are outside the district?
I don't know.
I just
don't
found
think
out
Mike
today
even
about that
knows.
part.
I don't think Mike even has a total count on how many homes there are.
One of the problems is that there was nothing in the law that said anything about an inspection required. So, they were just paying, and there was no regulation. There was no regulations, even in, in the old zoning. In fact, when they did the new zoning, I think there isn't anything in there for mobile home parks.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Under the old zoning that Mike pulled, what's the name of this section? Article 11, house trailers and/or mobile homes. It's addressing, placing house trailers or mobile homes outside of parks, and then they talk about the permits.
But it didn't address an inspection to be required for,
Well, the odd thing is
applying
it says
for a
the provisions of 12147 shall not be applicable to any house trailer and/or mobile home park on or before the effective date of this article. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that.
but we don't really have a complete zoning law for mobile home parks in the new zoning law.
Well, that was the thing in 2007 when it was redrafted. they didn't include the provision on the permitting and the fees. There's nothing in there.
There's nothing in there for mobile home parks in the new zoning law, so that's why we're doing this.
I mean, do we have an issue that we have to make this?
We don't have anything in the new law that applies to zoning to mobile home parks for even, for inspection or anything.
No, I understand that the zoning law from 2007, that's what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm talking about the current, there's nothing there.
But the zoning law that was adopted in 2007,
What about it?
that's where we don't have a provision for
No.
inspection or fees or anything.
In the
Right,
new
there-
one?
I mean, there are
Right.
provisions for, like, if it was a new mobile home, then there's some procedures here.
But there's
to get a
nothing for
special
parks.
permit. But there's nothing in here about the permitting, the inspections, and the fees.
So there's just nothing there, so that's why we're putting something
But I'm just
there.
saying, are we having a problem that we have to have these inspection and fees?
You don't want to charge fees? There's nothing in there
I'm-
saying we can charge fees. That's what we need to have in there.
Have we been charging fees since 2007?
Up to 2014. I didn't do 15 and 16,
You've been charging the fees
except.
that we don't have a provision to
So-
charge the fees on.
Yeah, when Patty was still here, she says we send them out, they have a letter, you send them out, and we were collecting the fees. And it wasn't until the issue came up that I said, well, how are you charging fees? I kind of opened up a box that I didn't know how they were charging. But, so when they redid, and it went into the general code, and it wasn't in there, and I couldn't find it, but we went through the old folders, so
So
I
were the
found the
mobile
old
home
ones.
parks getting inspected while we were charging these fees?
Well, they should have been.
I don't know if they...
There's nothing in the current zoning law that applies to mobile home parks. That's why we're doing,
No, I understand, but I'm
Yeah.
just wondering what is the issue that we have to have a zoning law
because in order to collect the fees
in order
And
to
do
collect
the
the fees?
On the inspections.
and do the inspection.
Okay, okay.
And just to give you an idea, I mean, I'm not going to give the names, you come in and see it, but 61 parks, 61 trailers, 4 trailers, 5 trailers, 147 trailers, 5 trailers, 31 trailers, and 4 trailers. Those are the different areas that we're aware of. Now, tonight I found out there's 153 trailers in Tally Ho. So there's 146. So so now, without having an inspection, without Mike or whoever your inspector is, going to these locations, we don't even know if these numbers are correct. Like, I know there's one that has 4, but I can tell you right now, we pass it every day on Route 22, there's only 3 trailers there. So, it works both ways.
No, but I understand that, but
So for safety, I think is why we need to inspect it.
For what?
Safety and be able to
I
collect
would
the
guess like
fees.
a regular safety inspection of a house, right? I mean, the building.
yeah, but once
inspection.
your house is built, you don't have a safety inspection.
So you're wondering why they need to go
Why
annually?
every year do they have to be inspected and pay a fee for it? You build your house, you get a C of O, you pay for your building permit, you get they close the CO out. Do they ever come back to your house and re-inspect your house?
Yeah, but if
Well,
you're
there's safety
renting
inspections.
and you rely on like a shared resource as part of a park or a community, and that might not be compliant or that might be dangerous, and then the people that live there rent, might not have a recourse to address that without an inspection. Does that make sense? So like,
Yeah, it makes sense, but then if the problem is if the people are living in a trailer, that you're saying it gives them a little thing if the trailer is subpar, if there's an issue or
or one
something
of the
like that.
shared buildings.
Okay,
or
so now the inspector goes there and finds that the trailer is inadequate, removes the permit, the people have to get out of the trailer anyway.
Well, they would have to deal with the owner, I'm assuming, of the
Yes.
properties.
No, but I'm just saying, if you revoke a
But
mobile
that's
home
no
permit.
reason not to have a law, not have a law. We need to have something in our zoning code to address this.
I'm trying to understand why you've been collecting fees for 7 years without a law, without a fee schedule, without an inspection. Now all of a sudden we want to make a law.
The local law was originally written in 1999. It was local law number 3 of 1999 that authorized this.
Okay.
And then somehow between that and when we got our books, it was left out of the book.
Okay.
It was just, it's really, at the end of the day, it's an oversight. That law should have come into
Carried
this,
over.
should
And
have
it didn't
carried
carry
over, and it
over.
got missed.
Right.
Because if you go in the folders, I have the local law from 1999, you know, in the folders when they were getting their permits, and that's how I, you know, so I, yeah, okay, so we'll keep
It's
sending
just,
it.
I mean,
just
I'm
didn't
trying to see
it
if there's a
until I-
problem for this. If there's not a problem for it, it's not broken. If it's just a matter of collecting the fees.
It is broken. There's nothing in the law. That's why we're adding to the law. There's nothing there.
Victoria, I understand that, but is there an issue? Is there a problem? There's no law that I can't wear a green shirt. So that means what?
We're talking about legally being able to collect the fees.
Okay.
To offset the cost of these annual inspections, of which we're not positive why they're necessary. But I think that's an interesting, if you want to talk to the building
But
inspector.
we're offsetting a cost of a $12 inspection per home. It's going to cost more than $12 to inspect each home.
Yeah, but that's not,
I don't think
that
that
was
they
an old
inspect each
fee.
home. I don't
That was
know.
the fee
Okay.
way
Make
back
it whatever you
when.
want.
That's
So now the
not
people that
current
rent
fee.
these mobile homes, they're paying lot rents and everything else. Now, Tally Ho just had a whole issue with the oil tanks and everything else. I mean, is this another fee that might not be needed on top of that?
This
Well, this is to the
this
park
fee is for
owner.
the owner.
For the owners.
And don't you think the fee gets passed on to the tenants?
This is the fee for the owner.
Victoria, I understand that.
I know you understand that, but apparently you seem to have a problem with collecting fees.
I do have a problem with collecting fees because that owner is paying property tax. That owner is paying Wansake fire tax. Now you have another fee on top of all these other fees. And I'm trying to find out why this fee or why this law is necessary.
So I think the answer is with talking to our building inspector to find out from his point of view, what's health, safety, welfare is he providing as a service to the residents of a mobile home, and to make sure that the health, safety, and welfare is being taken care of. I will go and ask him, and I'll report at the next meeting why he feels it's important to have a law like this to.
And we're, not- you know, it isn't like we're the only town that has a mobile home law in their zoning. It's something that's part of the zoning of all the towns. who
Well,
have
I
mobile homes.
understand that it's part of the zoning of all the towns, but we're here to govern our town.
Well, that's
And
what
if
I'm
it fits,
trying
it
to
fits.
do.
If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Well,
So
this fits because
that's
it's
fine.
missing.
Okay.
It's fair. I mean, I think the fee is secondary to the value of the inspection. You know, but I've lived places where it was a multi-unit place where we rented, and the owner had an obligation to provide heat, for example. Or, you know, let's say in a mobile home park, there's a shared electrical junction box or something. You know, if that's shared infrastructure that the people who rent there rely on, and that's not inspected and that's not up to code, then that might be. I think it is worth speaking to Michael about, you know, what value those, and then the fee could just be basically to, you know, we can set that to be as minimal as possible just to cover that cost.
Yeah, we weren't looking to increase the fees, just have the legal authority to collect them.
That we've been collecting for 7 years with no legal authority.
Well, that's what we found out, and that's why we're working on it now. Okay, action, vote to accept a 2016 emergency response operation document that you were given at the last meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I feel like it was my fault for holding it up last time, so.
Well, nothing was your fault, and you weren't holding up
I had a
anything.
chance to go through it and read it, and
Don't worry about it.
I'd be happy to make a motion to accept the emergency response operations document of 2016.
I'll second it.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. And under other matters, we have our bond resolution, which didn't pass last time because we didn't have enough votes. Apparently, according to finance law, we need to have 4 votes to pass it. So we're going to vote on it again. As I don't think I need to read the whole thing, or maybe I do. At a regular meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, held at Town Hall in Amenia, New York, in said town on the 4th day of February 2016 at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time. The meeting was called to order by Supervisor Victoria Perotti upon roll call. There were present Councilman Gutierrez, Councilman DeLango, Councilwoman Doyle, and Supervisor Perotti, absent Councilwoman Hitzelberger. The following resolution was offered by, can I make that motion? Who moved its adoption, seconded by?
I'll second.
Bond resolution dated February 4, 2016, a resolution authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the construction of improvements to the town hall heating system in and for the town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $1,111,000 and authorizing the issuance of $1,111,000 bonds of said town to pay the cost thereof. Whereas all conditions precedent to the financing of the capital project hereinafter described through compliance with the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act as a Type 2 action have been performed. Whereas now desire to authorize such capital project and its financing, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1. The construction of improvements to the town hall heating system and replacement of the existing system, including related reconstruction of portions of said building, an addition of a generator, as well as original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therein in and for the town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, hereby authorized subject to permissive referendum at a maximum estimated cost of $1,111,000. Section 2, the plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is by the issuance of $1,111,000 bonds of said town, hereby authorized to be issued, therefore pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law. Section 3, it is hereby determined that the period of probable usefulness of the aforesaid specific object or purpose is 25 years, pursuant to subdivision 12A of paragraph A of section 11.00 of local finance law. It's hereby further determined that the maximum maturity of the bonds herein authorized will exceed 5 years. Section 4, the faith and credit of said town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, are hereby irrevocably pledged for the payment of the principal of and interest on such bonds as the same respectively become due and payable. An annual appropriation shall be made in each year sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on such bonds becoming due and payable in such year, less paid from other revenues. There are annually be levied on all the taxable real property of said town a tax sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on such bonds, and the same become due and payable. Section 5, subject to the provisions of the local finance law, the power to authorize the issuance of and to sell bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of the bonds herein authorized, including renewals of such notes, is hereby delegated to the supervisor of said town, the chief fiscal officer. Such notes shall be of such terms, form, and contents shall be sold in such manner as may be prescribed by said supervisor, consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 6. All other matters except as provided herein relating to the bonds herein authorized, including the date, denominations, maturity, interest, payment dates within the limitations prescribed herein, and the manner of execution of the same, including the consolidation with other issues, and also the ability to issue bonds with substantially level or declining annual debt service, shall be determined by the supervisor, the chief fiscal officer of such town. Such bonds shall contain substantially the recital of validity clause provided for in section 52.00 of the local finance law, and shall otherwise be in such form and contain such recitals in addition to those required by section 51.00 of local finance law, as a supervisor shall determine consistent with the provisions of the local finance law. Section 7, the validity of such bonds and bond anticipation notes shall be contested only if 1, such obligation are authorized for an object or purpose for which said town is not authorized to expend money, or 2, the provisions of law which shall be complied with at the date of publication of this resolution are not substantially complied with, and the action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after date of such publication, or 3, such obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Section 8, this resolution shall constitute a statement of official contact for services of Treasury Regulations, Section 1.150-2. Other than specified in this resolution, no monies are or reasonably expected to be reserved, allocated on a long-term basis, or otherwise set aside with respect to the permanent funding of the object or purpose described herein. Section 9, upon this resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in fuller summary form in the official newspaper of said town for such purpose, together with a notice of the town clerk in substantially the form provided on Section 81.00 Local Finance Law. Section 10, this resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote and roll call, which resulted as follows.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. Okay, is there any other public comment?
Sharon Croker. I want to speak to you briefly about the resolution that was passed on November 19th of 2015, and that was your number 43 of that year. And previously, last year, I did ask for you to reconsider that and rescind it. And there were any number of arguments that I used, including that I thought it was inappropriate and seriously bad for the town, and I'm not going to go through all of that again. I'm going to ask you tonight to rescind it for another reason, and that is, as I reviewed the motion, what I find is that you've got 10 whereases, and then you've got 2 resolutions. I'm just looking for it here somewhere. And in the second one of your resolutions, you basically instruct the town clerk to mail out to all of the, I'm going to get the right wording, to all of the interested parties, interested and the EAF, and other documents to be mailed out to these interested parties. But you don't specify which interested parties. Now, with SECRA, what you have is a different set of parties that you have to mail to depending on what your issue is. I'm still looking for this. I had it a minute ago. But
What it has been mailed to.
now let me just finish my.
Sure.
Because it is necessary for the body that is doing the review, which in this case would be you if you insist on doing it, which you'd be the lead agency. You have to then go through and evaluate which of the agencies that you think need to get this, and then you send it to them. Now, this is particularly complicated in this case, and therefore the list that you would be sending it to has to be stated in the resolution where it's going to go. It can't just be, let's hope she gets them in the right place. So I would really request that you review and rescind that particular form of that resolution, and then if you want to pass that resolution, that you do it again this year with proper wording. And so I would just ask you to study those 10 whereases and then those 2 resolveds, and you'll see what I'm getting at. For instance, you can't just be sure that the health department gets this. This is an EAF plus 160 pages at least to each of these agencies or parties that have to be receiving this. You're not just dealing with the health department. You have to track down whoever is inspecting that well, that very famous well that's serving all of Tally Ho, 3,000 feet below in the aquifer, just to the south. And that agency is going to probably be one of the most concerned agencies because they certify how beautiful that water is consistently. And I don't know the name of it, but you'll find out. But I think that when you draw up a motion of that kind, it has to be so seriously and carefully done that you specify which agencies are going to get it, or else you're going to have an agency or a government or a state agency or whatever that's going to say, but you didn't notify us in the proper, correct time. So that's my suggestion for the evening.
Is there any other public comment? The town clerk, did you want to say anything to that or no?
I can.
You can do public comment too.
But I'm not here to answer questions.
I know.
On December 31st, the packets asking that were mailed that include all of the information submitting on this particular project that's in question. It did include the EAF. It included all the submissions that we've received to date. They were sent to all of the lead agencies. In order for the town to obtain lead agency, they were sent to the interested parties, and those interested agencies of the circulation were New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, New York State Department of Transportation, the Town of Amenia Planning Board, secondary interested agencies, the Dutchess County Department of Health and Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. So not only did the lead agency consent form get mailed, all of the information also was mailed. And to date, we've received responses back from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Dutchess County Department of Health, Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, and the Town of Amenia Planning Board. All of this will be provided back to the town for our next meeting. Being this is our workshop, it'll go for you for your regular meeting. They've all given their responses back to the town going for lead agency. So the circulation that was referenced in that particular resolution is for the town to seek lead agency. We're not at seeker right at this time.
But you didn't receive the EAF.
Could you please go to the microphone, Sharon?
The EAF was received and it's posted on our website. The EAF is here.
Now it is.
Yes.
No,
It wasn't then.
Yes, it was. We had to send it out.
The
We had to
December
have
meeting, it
something to
came.
send out.
They did a resolution in December for the town seeking lead, in November for the town seeking lead agency. Then in December, they went ahead and they went and Bufamonte was here at our meeting and submitted it to the town board in person. So we did receive it at our December meeting. And at that time is when we had it, and at that time thereafter is when it was circulated to everybody. The initial resolution is just for the town to seek lead agency for seeker.
I'd like to explain that for the town, actually, to be lead agency for seeker requires another resolution,
We're not there yet.
and we're not there yet. It will be, this will be on the agenda for the February 18th meeting. However, I want everyone to know that we are listening to your comments and your concerns. I understand that there are concerns from the people not only at Tally Ho, but also on May Lane. Not only worrying about, the water supply, but also the truck traffic. I know it's challenging enough for people living in Tally Ho to pull out on 22 with the existing traffic without the onslaught of additional truck traffic. We do have some letters. The town board will be thinking long and hard before we make a decision on whether to accept seeker for this project. Is there any other town board comments?
I was just wondering if we could go over where we're at with the Silo Ridge project and the town board approvals that are needed I believe you're working on the homeowners association agreements, or was that
Yeah, I have to hear back
finalized?
from Dave because there are some provisions, apparently conditions in the planning board approvals on that. So he'll be looking at that right now. He said he was focusing on the conservation easements.
Right.
I know he had received one. I don't know if he has the second one as yet, but I know he had sent an email that he was working on those, trying to get those, finalized.
They're trying to get them finalized and get them to us for the 18th meeting, the 2 easements.
But that has to do with the homeowners association also?
It's a separate,
No, that's...
No, it's separate, but Dave was working on those before he goes to the HOA documents.
I don't believe we have to vote on the HOA.
Well, mainly we have to make sure that there's a provision in there that has been included in the planning board conditions that they have to comply with. So Dave said he would be looking at that when he got finished with the conservation easements.
But the
And we'll go from
conservation
there.
easements are the 2 things we need to vote on.
so those are
But I
the
haven't
only
even
2
seen those yet. I don't-
big
Because we got the
That's
homeowners
it.
on September 1st of 2015.
Yeah, I
That's
know
when
that.
we got the HOA documents.
Right, but there have been so many other more pressing items, I
Well,
guess.
one of the things they did with the HOA is they added 2 of the smaller easements to it. The slope easement and I think the emergency access easement. So they were folding those 2 easements into the original document, from what Dave told me the last time I spoke to him. So it's a work in progress.
But I don't even have the conservation easements as yet. I haven't even seen anything.
Well, they're finishing them.
Yeah. I mean, they're working with the organization,
Yeah,
I
we
think, on the
know.
provisions. Yeah.
Is there any other town board comments?
I was here the other night, and I don't even know why I was here. I had to lock up the building. I want to say, I don't know why I had to lock up the building. Have we worked?
We don't know either. We have no idea what
Have we worked on anything yet about who's in the building and who's not? I know when we were talking about... Yes,
Karate guy's supposed to lock it up.
I understand, but we don't know if anybody else is in the building.
Quick walkthrough, and that he was told that. The
All right,
last group's
but when
told
we
him
were
that.
talking about the fire evacuation, remember we talked about having a list? Because if you're going to have a fire evacuation, you want to do a head count when everybody's outside. If we don't know who's in the building, how are you going to do a head count? Because I know we talked about working on that when that fire evacuation, when we talked about it. Have we made any headway on it?
So the schedule, that's one of the things that like we had done, it's out in the community bulletin board, the last group that's here. So every night there is a specific last group that's here. So Monday night happens to be karate, Tuesdays and Thursdays happens to be your English as a second language. Wednesday would be your dancing lady, get her some, the easy fitness class, and there's nobody here on Fridays.
Okay.
So
But I think I know what Mike is saying is...
have a.
You walk out of the building and you see
We're in
cars
here
outside.
sometimes.
And I'm setting the lights, I'm shutting the lights, I'm shutting the alarm off, and I see cars out in the parking lot.
You
Am I
don't know
locking
which way
the...
to go.
Am I locking it on somebody? Am I not locking it on somebody? Do I just walk out? Then I don't want to leave it open.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's got to be something where we could figure out, you know, who's in the building and who's not.
Can there be a sign-in sheet that's just
We had
voluntary as
talked,
you
you know,
walk
well, we
in, you
talked
say the
about that.
time and the
You know,
date,
we've talked
in
about
and
that,
out?
we've talked about town IDs, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're talking about when it comes in and out. I know one of the issues right now that I'm facing that I keep going back and forth with Annette with is, you know, there's 47 IDs out there for our alarm system. You know, you guys are gonna have to address spending the extra money on the new alarm panel because you're gonna have to update that. It's
Well,
just
do we
more
have a
and more and
list
more.
of who has the IDs?
Yes, we do.
I
Yes,
mean,
we
are
do.
all those IDs,
Yes, they
Yes.
are.
they need them now?
Yes, yeah, I go through periodically and take out the ones
We
that
just went through
aren't
this
being used.
yesterday.
We just changed them.
Because, I
Take 'em
mean,
out.
Victoria, you're working late at night here. I mean, I imagine for your own safety, you would like to know who's in the building and who's not.
Well, I usually make sure the doors are locked, and I have my panic button with me, so.
Okay, but it's just, you know, if we could find some way to, you know, try to keep track who's here and who's not.
Yeah, I think that's something, I agree with Mike, I think that's something we should look at, so that we know who's here. in case of any kind of an emergency. So that's something we can look at.
That's
I
been
think
the
a
reminder.
voluntary sign-in sheet would be, I mean, how else are you going to maintain it?
The hardship is that there are these activities of volunteers at the end of the evening, and who's what. There's no paid staff here.
Right. So it has to be voluntary.
I've had
You
this
sign yourself
conversation
in
with a
and you
secretary who
paid.
doesn't want to be held responsible on one of the boards and doesn't want to be the one, signing out and locking down the building. Unfortunately, the security is an issue, as it is everywhere. And it's something as the board, what you guys are going to want to do. I mean, you guys are permitting all of these uses of the building. There are volunteers, there's recreation, there's the ZBA. I think that, Mike, if that's something you want to spearhead, I mean, I'll help you and aid you in telling you who's here when. But I think the ideas really need to come from the board if it's your building. If you want me to sit there and do a sign-in sheet, I can do a sign-in sheet, but it's on the good of, the individuals filling out the sign-in sheet.
I mean, it would help too,
What I
a
tell
schedule of who's in the building.
it's on the bulletin board outside.
But that's everybody that's in the building,
building,
someone that's
their
renting
schedules.
it or not renting it? Okay.
Yep, so that's
Yeah,
why
yeah, we do have a
we've been going. That's
schedule.
one of the issues when I had that thing with Christine this past week, trying to figure out and getting a good solid schedule of who's in the building. It'd be a way to aid that, we know what the schedules are. I know who I'm giving keys to. I give them the same notice. If you go to the alarm panel, right after we had that discussion, over by the alarm panel, there's a green instruction, and it tells them what they're supposed to do. And the last person in the building should be walking. So before you armed it, if you would have read the little green card,
How do you know you're the last person in the
you
building?
walk the building. You have to
Okay,
walk the
so you
building.
got closed doors, you got this, you got that. I'm supposed to open up every room and look and see if someone's in there.
No, but if the
and
room
then
is
lock it
dark
up.
and locked,
Okay.
unless
I hate
somebody's
to be the one that
hiding there.
says it. I mean, what else are you going to do? You have to physically walk and look it.
Have a
It's the
list of
same
who's
thing
in
that
the
the
building.
constables do, same thing Victoria does, same thing that I do. You have to walk the building. And there's been times that the alarms, because you're not on the alarm list, so you're not getting the phone calls. Some of us are. So she's walking out the front door, and the rec woman's coming around the back. Next thing you know, the phone's ringing. You have an activation. Well, what are you talking about? There's an activation, and they literally passed each other. I caught her at the end by the trees, and I come in, and I know that recreation's there. You go look at the back, and I'm like, well, the lights are on in the gym. And she just walked the building. The two of them just passed each other. So, when she's leaving at 5:30, if the lady's not here to start a 6 o'clock class, they literally just crossed.
So there is a problem.
So, they're,
Well, not with that class anymore, because I joined it.
But, but there is a problem, so.
So you have to walk, I mean, that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not even 9 o'clock at night. That's a 5 o'clock in the afternoon issue.
Right.
But it
Unfortunately,
is
there's too much
something,
ins and outs.
it's something we can look at as, overall security for the whole building.
And the only way to set the alarm panel is if there's activations not going off. So you would know if somebody's in the building and triggering an activation area, because the alarm won't let you set.
If they're in the activation area. If they're not in the activation
right?
area,
Fun facts.
Impacts, because
But
we
if-
get those calls.
but if they're not in the activation
Birds.
area, it's not gonna tell you they're
We'll
active.
know within a minute.
Okay.
I know it's a crappy answer and it's not what you were looking to hear. So, I welcome you to bring us an idea, an actual way to resolve this issue. I mean, that's why I went and put the green card there, giving them a list of rules. It was rules that I came up with. Not even saying to you guys what I was doing. That's how I resolved it, telling them they have to look. I think it's complacency. I think, you guys all get used to your schedule. You just know somebody else is going to do it and you go. And it happened to be that night. You guys were the last group here and what do you do? So, I mean, usually 6 of us, any one of us should be taking that responsibility on and not calling it an issue. It's kind of just falls in our job. We're the last ones here, we lock up.
And I agree with that, but if you don't know if you're the last one here or not, that's all I'm saying. So I'll try to figure it out.
Okay, is there any other town board comment? Not up?
Sorry, do you want to mention, there's a ambulance meeting next Tuesday?
Yes,
Um,
at 6:30,
At 6:30 and it's here?
yes.
That's all.
Yeah, it was on I sent out the special meeting notice today. Is there any other comment? Make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Councilman Delango?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.